For over 2 decades, Neelam Katara has fought tirelessly for justice for her son, Nitish, brutally murdered in 2002. Today, a Supreme Court ruling in the Nitish Katara case reignites her unyielding quest to honor his memory.
He was absolutely butchered with a hammer, and then he was thrown into a kind of ditch on the side of the road, and the petrol or oil, whatever was sprinkled on him, and he was burnt.
A mother's unbreakable spirit. Tonight on Left, Right and Centre, justice for Nitish Katara. Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. Tonight we revisit a wound that once tore at the heart of this nation, a wound reopened by a Supreme Court ruling today. In 2002, the brutal murder of Nitish Katara, a young man full of promise, shocked us all. Abducted from a wedding in Ghaziabad, beaten and burnt alive, his only crime was loving someone across the rigid lines of caste and power. This was no ordinary tragedy. It was a chilling display of arrogance and of violence orchestrated by Vikas and Vishal Yadav, sons of a powerful Uttar Pradesh politician, with their associate Sukhdev Yadav, otherwise called Pehelwan. India watched, we were horrified, as headlines screamed of a young life snuffed out, of a mother's relentless fight for justice, and of a system tested by influence and privilege. For years, Nitish Katara's name was synonymous with the quest for justice. His mother, Neelam Katara, became a symbol of courage, standing firm against threats and heartbreak to ensure her son's killers faced the law. The case gripped India. Mothers wept for Nitish. Youth rallied for fairness, and courts were pushed to deliver. In 2016, finally, the Supreme Court sentenced Vikas and Vishal to 25 years without remission, and Sukhdev to 20 years. It felt like justice, hard won, but delivered. Yet today, that justice feels fragile. The Supreme Court has ordered the release of Sukhdev Yadav, who completed his 20-year term in March this year. The court's broader directive is clear. Convicts who have served fixed sentences must be freed if not wanted in other cases. But for Neelam Katara, for Nitish's memory, and for a nation that once mourned with them, this ruling stirs pain and it stirs questions. How do we balance legal precision with the weight of a mother's loss? How do we reconcile justice served with justice felt? Tonight we honor Nitish's memory, revisit a case that shook India, and ask what today's verdict means for those still seeking closure. Well, joining us now, someone who's been a real champion for justice, Nitish Katara's mother, somebody I have spoken to on many occasions in the past, one of the most courageous women I know, someone whose struggle for justice I covered as a young journalist, and someone who talks about the memory of her son, a young man whose memory I will not forget. Mrs. Katara, thank you very much for being with us. The Supreme Court's decision allows for the release of convicts who've served fixed life terms, including in your son Nitish's case. How are you and your family processing this ruling? And I assume it's brought up a lot of emotions. How are you dealing with that?
Right now I'm shocked and I'm not happy about it because, you see, I've had judgments at all levels which went for me or against me, but this is a complete miscarriage of justice. It is misunderstanding of first the Delhi High Court's order, and then which was held up by the two-judge bench of the Supreme Court, which said that it is a life imprisonment with no remission for 20 years. Then after that, we have a two-judge bench again of the Supreme Court giving something which I think has not been understood properly. Because even when they have spoken about the Sentence Review Board, and that automatically people should be let off once they've completed what they call the term sentence. In my son's case, it was not term sentence. It simply said life imprisonment with no remission for 20 years, which is what was carried out. And after 20 years, he was eligible for remission if the Sentence Review Board of the government thought so, and his matter was sent to the Sentence Review Board. And in fact, another two-judge bench of the Supreme Court had chided almost, if I can say, the Delhi government as to why they can't do it fast enough. And so the Sentence Review Board heard the reasons from both sides, and they decided that he is not ready to go out freely and join the society, and because of various things which he may have done during his jail term, and therefore his appeal for remission was rejected. So he came back, and his furlough had been rejected earlier by the High Court. So he brought up an appeal against that rejection in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave him, he asked for 3 weeks furlough. The Supreme Court, in all their how generous they were, they gave him 4 months, I think, or 3 months. And when my counsel pointed out that at one time furlough is given for 3 weeks as per the Delhi prison rules, they were told via the Supreme Court, Section 142, Article 142, I'm sorry. So he is out for 4 months. And after that, he again filed thing for that his sentence is over. And that was heard. And it was on 29th of July, it was said that he can continue his furlough, and he is treated as released, and the complete order will be given today, which it has been done. So this is what has happened. I am not satisfied with the judgment, especially since it was, first of all, carved by a 2-judge bench of the Delhi High Court, and then upheld again by a 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court. And now we have again a 2-judge bench of the same Supreme Court saying that he is out. And of course, it has been extended to all High Court, all governments across the country.
Sure.
When I completely agree that if someone's sentence is over, they should be let out. But this sentence is not over. I mean, for death, for killing somebody, you get death penalty or a life sentence. My son's convicts were given life sentence, but it was said, when I asked for enhancement in the High Court, the lower court gave them a death sentence, a life sentence. And when I asked for enhancements in the High Court said they couldn't agree to my plea for a death sentence, but they are enhancing it from a simple sitter life sentence to life sentence with no remission for actually 20 years in the case of Pehelwan.
Can I ask you?
This complete miscarriage of justice here.
But how does this verdict affect your sense of closure? Because this is a battle for you personally. We know it's a battle for Nitish, but it's been your own battle, one that you fought for decades.
I fought this battle with a lot of
Did you
people.
ever get a sense of closure when the initial verdict was out? They were sentenced to life in jail. Was that
Definitely.
a closure for you? And does
Yes,
this,
it was a closure.
and does
That
the
was
ruling
after 14 years. Yes,
does the ruling today reverse that?
Yes, it is. It is shocking. It is hurtful, and it's not fair. It's not just. It's biased, and that's what hurts. I mean, I felt that the ruling was balanced, it was fair, or it had been referred to a higher bench and they had come out with this if the present bench was not clear. But I mean, they needed everything from relative pronouns to George Bernard Shaw to, of course, whatever is legal to justify it. I haven't got the order, unfortunately, otherwise I'd go into more detail, but I heard it while it was being read out. And I should be convinced that what's happening is right, not because he's my son, but because I haven't fought this alone. I have fought this with so many people in this country. I fought this with all of you, I think. Yeah, you're right. I think you were there when I came for the first time on this channel. And so it's not alone. And a lot of them used to come to me for counseling to how to do this and how to do that. And I always said, no, you must fight. You must live by the rule of law and you must fight for your rights and do the right thing. But
Mrs.
now
Katara, let me ask you something.
I don't think I can say that.
Ma'am, there's an entire generation of young Indians out there. I began my career almost, covering this case. I'm now 30 years into this profession. And there's an entire India out there who don't know about your son, about Nitish. Could you tell us about him?
Yes, I can. Of course, a lot of people studying law or studying, for their various other subjects have used this as a project or as a dissertation. Yes, my son was a young person. He was 23 years old when this took place. He after his graduation from Venkateshwar College in Delhi, he went to IMT Ghaziabad, and he met Bharti Yadav, or Bharti Singh as she used to write, who's the daughter of MP and someone with who's known as with criminal antecedents, with various reasons, and so they were friendly. And as so many of their friends got married to people whom they had chosen themselves, or some of them got married to people chosen by parents, or in between. So they were friendly, and they were, I mean, there's a whole stack of letters and whatever, but they were just friends, and they were, they were very much in love, and they were hoping to get married. They were like that. And but it is not that they had run away or they had declared something that yes, we are getting married, but yes, they were. But of course, the brothers were there. They were very much in know of it, and this was the first. In fact, Nitish was very careful because they didn't go to Ghaziabad together. But in this case, there was a colleague's wedding, and so he had gone. And he was spotted there. Vikas Yadav had just come out again on a bail. He was inside for Jessica Lal murder, as being one of the convicts there. And he had come out to contest an election. He contested the UP Assembly election, and between the voting and the counting, he used his time for picking up my son from this friend's murder. And he must have gone because this was Bharti's son wanting to speak with Bharti's brother wanting to speak with him. So he never thought, that was a boy brought up in total love with friends, with music, with travel. So he couldn't imagine anyone doing something like this. This kind of killing didn't exist in his world. So he went out to speak with them, and he was picked up, and that was the last anyone saw of him. He was taken out. He was absolutely butchered with a hammer, and then he was thrown into a kind of ditch on the side of the road, and the petrol or oil, whatever, was sprinkled on him, and he was burnt. And by the time I started inquiring, and I came to Ghaziabad in the morning, wrote the FIR, and after that we went to where he had been thrown, somewhere in Khurja, and they didn't want me to go because the body was in such a bad state, but I said, I have to. If he can be there, I can go there. So I went there, and I was able to identify, and I'm very happy. That's one thing good I thought I did, because no one else would have been able to identify him. He was in such a mess. And then, of course, the case ran, and it took time. And because of the father's antecedents, the case was transferred from Ghaziabad to Delhi. And that is why I think we got wherever we got. But all this has been completely overlooked by the Supreme Court. They're only talking of reform. And therefore, after that, the case ran, and everything, it's there on Google, how it ran up and down, whatever. They packed Bharti away abroad. Then finally, her passport was cancelled, and she had to be brought back to India, and she came, and the prosecutor at that time said, what is the point? She will not speak in your favor. Possibly he'd been won over. But I said, no, I want her here. So she came, and the body language was palpable. She accepted all the letters, all the cards which she had written. She'd write long messages even in the cards. She accepted everything, and obviously she was emotional. So it was very obvious to any judge or anyone who was there to see that, her saying that, no, there was nothing like that, we knew each other. And then she said, no, we were friends, but my brothers didn't know anything about it. They are very nice people. So all that didn't work, and they were sentenced.
Ma'am, that sentencing came 16 years later. It took you 16 years to get justice in this case. It was
2002 to 2008 was the lower court, and then up to 15 was High Court, and 2016 was Supreme Court. So 14 years.
14 years to get justice in this particular case.
That's right.
14 years when you fought this relentless battle, never quite knowing if you were going to succeed. It must have been unbelievably trying for you, unbelievably difficult for you. What gave you the strength to do this? It was almost a superhuman effort in a case which seemed hopeless for you to actually get justice for your son. What gave you the strength? Just the memory of your son?
Some sort of belief in justice, because Nitish believed in justice. He would. I mean, he would take up for anyone. Even if he walked into a shop and he found somebody there across the counter, sort of ignoring an old person and letting them wait, he would stand up and take up. If even somebody in an auto rickshaw asked for more money, he would say no, because if you can pay it, maybe somebody else can't. So this is not being fair to the person who can't pay. So that kind of thing. So it was Nitish's really big thing he had for justice. That is what pushed me on. And then the kind of support I got from the people all around me, the way people, sort of sent messages, came up and said that, no, please keep on fighting. We are all with you. And you're fighting for all of us. You're not fighting for yourself. And this is what I feel bad about, because there were so many people who believed in this case, who believed in justice because of this case. They will be disappointed. I will not be able to tell anyone now that fight for justice, and if you are right, you will get it.
Ma'am, one final question. Is there any abiding memory of Nitish that you have?
Well, Nitish was full of fun. I mean, he used to love his gypsy, which we have still kept. We can't drive it, it's too old. He used to like driving around. He was fond of music. And he had a lot of friends, and he would love to collect his friends around and have a good time. Surprisingly, some of the friends said that he was the only one in our whole group who didn't touch alcohol, but he could be the center of the party without it. So this was it. Always fun, always laughter, very affectionate, very helpful. I mean, he had friends whose mothers would ask him to drive them down if they wanted to go somewhere, Vrindavan or Ajmer or somewhere, because they were very confident about him that yes, he'd get us there on time, but he's a good driver. So that was a real passion. Wildlife sanctuaries, that was something. I mean, especially Corbett. We went every year to Corbett. Then he went with his friends and others all across the country. So that is what he was, fun, music and all. And that's what I said earlier, that when they picked him up, he couldn't imagine anything like this. And it was really sad when one or two of his friends, actually, they were too scared, or maybe they were pulled back by their parents. They couldn't speak the truth for him.
Look, ma'am, it's been an incredible battle for you. We'll always support you. I'll always support you in this battle for justice. And thank you for once again having the courage to speak about this very, very difficult theme, and for continuing your struggle for justice. Thank you very much indeed, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for getting me over.